Ladies and gentlemen, that a lovely introduction was none other than myself improvising. Welcome back, of course, to Toasty Tentacle. I'm your host here, Reverend Ellsworth. It is, of course, before breakfast time. Before breakfast time with Reverend Ellsworth. This show brought to you by the thought bubble of a good friend of ours, Andrew. Andrew, I realize that this moment right here might just be a thought bubble that you gave to me a long time ago. And I thought, my God, well, I'm going to get on the Zoom and I'm going to practice every day. I've got about 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? You take glasses off, makes you feel different. You put them back on. You don't have to deal with things because you can't see nothing. They look good, though, right? So basically what I'm doing is I don't have a webcam for my computer. So what I'm doing is I'm logging in with my phone. And that's why I'm also in the corner, because the corner is actually my computer, which is the host. What? And it's kind of cool because I've got a replay and I've also got a camera, but they're in slight delay. So it's kind of like messing with my head, messing with my head, messing with my head, messing with my head. Wow. People are like, I tuned in for some puppets, man. Where are the flipping puppets? You'll get puppets when you get puppets. Yeah, you'll get puppets when you get puppets, won't you? Don't look at the person voicing me behind me. You know, if you wore a mask, this would be a lot easier. I know, I should be wearing a mask. Yeah, I should. Yeah, you should be wearing a mask. Really? You go try to do ventriloquism this late in your career, you're like 45. 45, you're taking up a new... Is this your quarantine hobby? You're going to try to hide behind the microphone so nobody sees you talking? You're not even establishing a fourth wall. It's not even there. There's nothing there. There's not... Like, I can literally see myself, and I have ping pong balls for eyes. Oh, that's kind of depressing, actually. Thanks for bringing me out, really. No, thanks. Thanks, I'm gone. Let go of me. I'm not kidding. Let go of me. Are we going to have a problem? Now I'm going to hit you. That really hurt. It really did hit. Maybe I should rethink this violence thing, considering it hits me like it hits you. Almost. Closer now. So, yeah, these are some of the things you tune into for Toasty Tentacle. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you've got to final call. Final call. Here's some encouragement music to bring your answer slips down to the end. Yeah, that's right. Before the coronavirus, I had a job as a trivia host. That's right. I was a trivia host. I went from place to place, and oh, what's that? You have glasses. Don't mind if I do. What's that from your daughter's wedding? Aw. We remember where we were last year. Last year we were in Florida, baby. Well, we were supposed to go to Florida this year, but you know, things being as they are. Anyway, before the corona came through, man, corona came through like a bunch of drunk college kids, didn't they? Oh, wow. Anyway, when I was supposed to be in Florida, everybody was down in Florida giving each other the clap. But I was up here in Maryland, and I'm glad I stayed because it would have been very difficult to leave Purvis Manor. That's where I am, broadcasting from Purvis Manor, the coolest assisted living facility, private, very exclusive clientele. Currently, everyone's related, but you know, hey, we don't let that get in the way of a good time. But yeah, hey, plot twist. I used to be a trivia host, and in that time, I really had fun. You know, it was kind of cool because my job was my socialization. You know, I didn't have to worry about being indoors 5, 6 days a week, because at least one night a week I would go hang out with really cool people like Jenny Dreadful, jennydreadful.com. Yeah. And I would hang out. But then I miss my peeps down in Florida, like my good peeps, Miss May. And but I did get to meet other peeps. Like I met this cool person named Sincerely Merce. Foreshadowing. Whoa. Anyway, this is forcing me to learn new talents. So yeah, how about a little taste of the old stuff, huh? So today on Toasty Tentacle, we're gonna do a little Toasty Trivia. Hey, yeah. All right. So what does it have to do with toast? All right. So French toast, a favorite breakfast food, is comprised of bread, sometimes milk, sometimes seasoning, but what other component? That's right. French toast is comprised of bread, maybe some milk, cheese, some spices, and some other stuff. But what other major component? What? What, a little music to get your answers in? There you go. Hey, quick story while you're getting your answers in about the French toast and the other component other than bread, cheese, milk, spices, and stuff. That major component. Um, this little doohickey right here was something I bought off of the Amazons. But prior to that, I inherited my father's harmonica. My father's harmonica was a treasure because he never played it. So I'm not sure why I couldn't play it, because I think that's kind of rude. Like, if you're not going to play with your toys, you know, maybe at least let me play with your toys. That's kind of rude. Of course, I think this is what most infidelity stems from in most marriages. Like, oh, you're tired of that person? Can I borrow that person? No, no, no. It's really wrong wearing wedding glasses telling that joke. Uh, but the cool thing about the harmonica is it's given me a lot of opportunities to entertain people of all walks and all lifestyles. And I actually was invited to a jail to speak in front of some lovely ladies who had made some decisions in their life that were not very nice. Well, let's just say it wasn't part of the social contract. They disregarded elements of the social contract, and they were sent to a place where, I'm thinking Shawshank Redemption. I didn't know what to expect. I get there and there's a very large guard. And when I mean a very large guard, I said, yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, very, very succinctly. And she searched me. And then I remembered I left my harmonica in the car. So I had to go back out to the car. When I came in again, I was like, looks like you're going to have to search me again. And I don't think she blushed. But this woman, who could have easily been a power forward for any team in the WNBA, it was like, okay. And I'm like, yeah, it's been a lonely time. And yeah. So that was fun. I went to the women's a women's facility here in Maryland that will remain nameless. But I want to tell you how encouraged I was. Two things really encouraged me. First of all, I got to speak to some of the inmates, and they used that meeting. There was I don't think it's technically considered a Toastmaster because it's inside of a facility. So I think it's part of the Golden Gavel clubs, and the Golden Gavel clubs were an outreach of a Toastmaster to prison communities, because I mean that you're there, maybe 5 years, maybe 50 years. That's your community, whether you like it or not. And it's like, I didn't ask to be born. And you're like, well, here you are. Do something with it. And that's what I really found there, which was really amazing, because we went to the library, and of course you're like, books. This is definitely Shawshank Redemption. I need to look for red and a guy with a small jeweler's hammer, and I need a poster, a poster. No, but they had these shirts hanging up in the library, and they had all these really cool sayings and drawings on them, and stories. You know, they're not really my stories to tell, but there were just it was a lot of heart poured on these projects, you know, and it's very similar that if you were walking through an elementary school library, it would be very similar. You know, it's some people have been deprived of that time and that space to be creative. And I think that is what's amazing about this quarantine time is that we all get time and space to be creative. At least I hope you do, unless you're essential personnel, and then you're losing your marbles. So, mm, yeah. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not quite sure what to make of all the TikToks featuring medical personnel because somebody had to make them. But then people are all like, "See, it's proof. All of this is a farce." And I'm like, "You you do realize that the same videos are posted by medical personnel like in surgery, right? Like you know, yeah, like a friend of mine was like, "Yeah, my anesthesiologist, come to find out he abuses drugs." It's like, see, proof that COVID-19 doesn't exist because a government wanted to cover it up and another government wanted to ignore it, and a worldwide organization failed to, you know, blow the whistle when they were like, "Oh no, don't get all upset about it because, you know, that's numbers and them GDPs. Oh, them GDPs have fallen, baby. We can't have the GDPs fallen because that's the only way we measure success in this world. How much can you make me? How much can you stand on the corner and turn tricks for me? Come on, make daddy some money." Well, that went off the rails real quick. Just hey, back to trivia time. In addition to bread, sometimes cheese and other kind of accoutrement, what is the essential ingredient for French toast? That's right, toast. That would be eggs. Very good, eggs. And why are eggs important? Because apparently we use eggs to make vaccines and to make tests. So a lot of noble chickens have been chunking out a lot of eggs so that we can eat. And yeah, so and eggs go bad, so people are hoarding eggs. I don't know, it must mean the eggs are going through a different channel. like like I don't know, a few months ago Americans were throwing away a third, like a fourth or a fifth of all the food they buy, and now we've got food shortages. Where do we have food shortages? We've got to make up our mind. We've got to take that wasted food and like feed people. Like we're not, you know, like in Walmart, you're not allowed to return anything because COVID. And I'm like, "Oh, well, in that case, you're not allowed to throw away any food. So any food that goes bad, you need to put out front and you need to say, "Oh, hey, listen, we were going to put this in the dumpster, but since that's social madness and civil uh, insanity, why don't we just put them out on bins in the front and give them away? Hey, thanks for coming to Walmart today. Would you like some free food? It's aged out of our shelves." Where's that? Where do I see that? Is that going? Is that going? I hope it is. I really hope it is because I'm seeing signs to the contrary. Anyway, I went to this women's prison. It was a fantastic experience. I got to speak in front of the some of the inmates. They were having a great meeting. I was like, "Well, you know, you've got to take a harmonica everywhere." Can you imagine walking into McDonald's, you open the door and you're like, "I'll take a Big Mac and some fries." I mean, everything becomes more magical with music, and that's actually how I started. Is I went through the drive-through at my McDonald's, and I was first thing in the morning. I was peppy. I had my harmonica with me. I was practicing, and they're like, "Welcome to McDonald's. May I take your order?" And I'm like, "I would like two sausage biscuits and a large caramel iced coffee with extra cream and soy if you have it, because regular milk kills me." All right, so our second piece of toasty trivia. We're hmm, hmm, uh, I don't want to get down to like what's in my pocket. All right, so So this is what are we gonna do? Toasty trivia. What else do I know about toast? I know French toast, a cinnamon toast. Ah, gave that one away. Do I have any like random trivia? No, that's the only question we have today. Didn't really plan. Yeah. No, I sent a Facebook post out today. I said, write smaller checks, because I think my problem is that I get really excited about something and then I get like a little puppy and I ruin it. I start chewing on it and I chew on it all day and people are like, maybe somebody wanted to use that. And I'm like, oh no. Mm, no, I gotta think about this some more. And I'll chew on it. I'll chew on it so much to destroy it. And it's terrible because I write that check so big. I write that check. It's a metaphor because I don't write checks. PayPal. Hello. I write that check so big. And it was a great line. I can't remember. It was one of these one of these like wide release PSA after school special where the young boy who's trying to turn his ways around, who's I think he's oh it was I think it was a basketball movie. Yeah, it was a basketball movie where the young man who is our hero has got some tough troubles, but he's in a better situation now, and a teacher or two that will fight for his spirit and bring him back around. And naturally, he's interested in a girl, and of course the girl, I don't think the girl is redeemable. I can't remember if it was the irredeemable sacrifice, like, oh, she's out of my league, oh, you don't want her anyway, she's not going to grow or learn anything in this hour and a half, so you want to focus on that girl. It's kind of like an animation where the whole scene's painted except for this rock that has a big black line around it because that's about to be animated. Yeah, so she goes over and talks to the scary drug dealer in the SUV, and of course, he's got dreads, and he just looks like he's just ready to sell you some drugs. And our young basketball player, he's walking over, and he's like, "Oh, redeemable or irredeemable girl, ABC, who you talking to?" And she's like, I'm just talking to somebody, I'm just talking. And then of course the scary drug dealer, dread dealer dread, leans out, and of course he's got a gun because naturally, I'm a drug dealer and I can't express myself without pointing a weapon at someone, obviously. So he leans out of the car and he leans around. Here's go. Oh, looks like little man's about to, what did he say? He said, looks like little man's mouth's about to write a check that his ass can't cash. I was like, oh, I was like, wow, that is. Okay. So uh, in this, theater of madness, just a glimmer of truth came out. And I'm like, yeah, his mouth is about to write a check that he doesn't want to cash, and it was very in the moment. It was threatening, and I get that. Like, back up, son. You don't know the drugs I sold. Bank, bank, bank. Um, but the young basketball player in that moment, I think, had the epiphany, because the writer, of course, put all of these absurd characters into this popcorn cooker, just like, what lessons will we learn today? It was really after school, especially. It's okay. It was still fun. But he learned something. He's like, don't write a check. And I realized that in my life, I will get excited about things and I'll start writing checks and I'll be like, oh yeah, I could do that, or yeah, I want to totally do that. And then it's like, ooh, a day later, I don't want to do it. Like I make these fantastic crochet creations, and these wonderful crochet creations have taken me hours and hours and hours of just staring at them and staring at us. Ah, you creep. I mean, I don't understand where you got the color from. It's not like he's wearing a jacket with the same color. The other guy ran away. I totally did. And why do I have an Australian accent anyway? No idea, do you? But I make these wonderful creations. Who made who, buddy? Just be quiet a moment. No, you're going to be quiet. Man, I look good on this ring light. We do look good on the ring light. We look very good on the ring light. Anyway, so I make these fantastic creations, and these take me hours, and now the material that goes into it, man, maybe $45, $50. Bite your tongue. I'm worth twice that. No, buddy, you're worth about 10 times that. Oh, nice. Yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't let you go for $500. You'd let me go just like that. He'd let me go. It's all right. I'd sell him out for 2 bits and a fish and chips. He can't even eat fish, can you? I can eat sushi. That doesn't count. Nobody's going to give you sushi and chips. But yeah, I wouldn't let these things go for less than $500,000. 500,000? Yeah, that's about right. Um, but that is a check. You know, people are like, "Oh my god, that's a great puppet. My cousin would like one." And I'm like, "That's amazing. Do you have $500 for a puppet?" And they're like, "Ooh, I was thinking like 1999." And I'm like, "Ooh, I was thinking you need to walk in with me to Walmart and we'll both buy the same piece of crap for 1999. It came from China. Now, it didn't take them 10 hours because they're hot gluing this foam together and putting faux fur on top of it, and they're nailing these out during the day. I still don't think that their labor practices are fair because I don't see American workers answering that call. I don't see American workers going, "Man, are you tired of going to college year after year? Try some manufacturing in China." Yeah. Every morning, wake up to some rice with some animals you found locally. Yum, yum. Would you like to work in a warehouse in China? I don't even want to go to their bit mining. I think it was a Vice. Was it a Vice thing they did on the Bitcoin mining? I wouldn't even want to work in their Bitcoin mining warehouses. Those things look foul. Just looked unhappy, and I don't think it was just in China. I think it was like in the somewhere in Eastern Europe. Just wow, man. I worked in a factory. I worked in a chlorine factory for a couple months, man. And I dropped like 30 pounds. I couldn't keep anything in, not in the attic, not in the basement, man. I cleaned out all my closets every day, man. People are like, "How you doing?" And I'm like, "Don't talk to me." It was funny because people are freaking out because everybody has to wear a mask, and I'll be honest, if you're not used to wearing a mask, it's breath control. You get all like, you take all this for granted. Now it's like, all right, no, we're cool. We're cool. Yeah, we're cool for a second. How about you leave it there for the next 45 minutes while you're in Walmart trying to go around going, "Can I have a happy family cheese?" I'm sorry, sir, what? Cheese. What kind of cheese would you like? It's not quite that bad, but you have to get used to it. And that's why I put the mask on the second I get in the car. So I have acclimated to the new breathing by the time I get to the store. But it was funny because when I started putting it on, it reminded me of my days in the chlorine factory where I had to wear a full face respirator. And I mean a full face, like it's sealed around your head because it burned your skin. It burned any wet membrane. So it burned your eyes and it burned your nostrils. Now, of course, I worked with guys that were so hardcore. This one guy, Buddy, he was out of his mind. Out of his mind. He didn't wear the full face respirator. He barely wore his little baseball cap. He'd wear it backwards because F the police. His eyes are burning. He's having chlorine tears. I mean, you never had any kind of infection except for the fact that you were being poisoned by chlorine. I mean, it's like, oh my god, it was the closest thing I think I've ever had to like chemotherapy. Like when I hear people talk about their experience with chemotherapy, and I'm like, yeah, I was in a chlorine factory for 2 months where I just got rained on. Like I still have chemical burns on my wrists where I got the brilliant idea that if I taped my glove to my arm, well, then I wouldn't get chlorine under my glove. But I never thought about it being under the tape. So it burned and it burned and it burned. So yeah, that was not the smartest moment of my life. That was not a genius moment by any means. But yeah, I learned some learned some things. You don't want to work in a warehouse, kids. You don't want to work in manufacturing. Manufacturing should be done by robots. Absolutely should be done by robots. Absolutely. And if you're gonna make us work in the factories, then you should do the what is it? Sorry to bother you. I think it was I'm sorry to bother you, where they turn them into half animals so they could work harder. Because obviously, obviously, we need big people to work at the factories. Big people work at factories. make the goods. No, let the robots do that. We humans, we like to do unique things. We need to make decisions. That's why I love this interview format, because I can talk and blabber for a little while. I can catch you up, but it's like email. And I used to send letters to friends, and you're like, oh my God, it'll take me like 2 months to catch up on this one story. Bam, email. We have caught up now. Oh, a phone call? Yeah, we've now what? Okay. Hey, my next guest. And that's why I love doing the interviews that I do. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. So I hope our time together has been encouraging. I hope you've enjoyed Toasty Tentacle. um, my name is Irreverent Ellsworth. Some might know me by Sean. I don't know these people. Check out my websites. I really don't. Just like this YouTube video, because this is where this is going, probably on YouTube. So please like this YouTube video. Share it with your friends. If you would like to be interviewed on the Toasty Tentacle Show, we'd love to have you. Come hang out with us. Please remember, 20 seconds for washing your hand. My quarantine hand washing song is oh, the noble Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He marched them up the top of the hill and marched them down again. Because when you're up, you're up. And when you're down, you're down. But when you're only halfway up, you're neither up nor down. One more, noble Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He marched them up the top of the hill and marched them down again. Because when you're up, you're up. And when you're down, you're down. Don't forget the fingernails. And down, down, and down. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Toasty Tentacle, Reverend Ellsworth. I will see you fine folks next time.